I just gotta
hit the button.
That's it. You know.
Word.
Oh man, we're back doing a live podcast, which, you know, why the fuck not?
Sure.
Got the access to Twitch, so we might as well.
I've never twitched before.
Yeah.
I mean, not voluntarily.
Not voluntarily. Not voluntarily.
I'm sure that joke's been done many times.
What was that?
I'm sure that joke's been done to death on Twitch before.
I don't. Oh, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, right over the head on that one.
Right over my goddamn head.
That's right, you're not a dad. So dad jokes might get lost on you.
It's yeah, they will be. Anyway, so yeah, we haven't been around for a few weeks because we had some fuck ups with the videos.
Some technical difficulties and some laziness, and
I'm just a moron.
And I'm lazy.
You know,
I don't make for good entertainment usually.
Yeah, it happens. But we're back. Anyone joining us on Twitch, we do this weekly podcast on our YouTube channel. How did you find this? And or maybe it's how did you find this podcast? I don't remember. We'll figure it out.
We'll put some links in there.
We'll put links somewhere. They'll be somewhere. But yeah, for anyone watching, which probably no one is, because you know I don't have one viewer, which is not anybody. It's probably just me.
That's true. We are looking at it. All right.
I'm pretty sure.
I think we're doing better than your Facebook Live videos right now.
Yeah, right? Yeah, literally. Just broadcaster and me. Much better than my Facebook Live videos. People do not watch me on Facebook Live.
I did for like 30 seconds the other day. And I was like, this sounds terrible.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Well, I mean, you used too much reverb.
Yeah.
So I was like, it wasn't the Postal Service song. It was another one. And I was like, well, I don't know this song, and I'm not interested anymore. So, bye.
I can't remember which one it would have been. Probably the Bon Iver song. No, that one was like the best one. I think that one, quality-wise, was the best one that I did. As far as like the audio quality. I don't know.
That's
whatever.
not the point of this.
Anyway, we're going to talk about some ridiculous movie news and some stuff that pisses me off. And, you know, some okay stuff. But I guess we can get right into it. So, so big thing came out last week was they did a deep fake of Back to the Future with Tom Holland and Robert Downey Jr.'s as Michael J. Fox and
Christopher Lloyd. Yep.
Yeah. It's Marty McFly and Doc Brown, which I got really upset about.
I did too.
About it because I thought it was like they're doing a little skit remake of it, and no, it was just some bullshit deep fake. So I just didn't even watch it. The moment I realized it was a deep fake, I was like, I
watched the whole thing because I was watching it. And I don't know what deepfake is, but once I started watching it, I was like, well, I'm going to finish it. It's only like 45 seconds long. Or however long it was. I was like, well, I got a few minutes before I got to go back to work. I might as well finish this instead of start something else.
Yeah.
So
I got like 10 seconds in and I heard the voices. I was like, this is not real. Shit.
Well, at first I was like, God damn, he's doing a good Marty McFly.
Yeah.
And then I heard Christopher Lloyd's voice, and I was like, that's not Robert. That's not RDJ.
Well, that's exactly what happened with me. Is like I was like, all right, I can believe that this is Tom Holland doing his like a Michael J. Fox voice, and then I was just like, exact same.
Also, it was Crispin Glover that ruined it for me because I was like, I thought it was going to be a skit.
Yeah,
like they were actually doing this, like on Saturday Night Live kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I saw Crispin Glover, and I was like, no, he's much older now. I was like, and that looks exactly like him, so it's not like they got someone else to play these characters. Yeah. And I was like, oh, so this is imposing. Like, onto however the movie effects do these impositions, where they impose like green screen, but like
superimpose.
Like we're Photoshop. You take one person out and put someone else in. Yeah, which seems like a nightmare of a job to me.
No, because the technology is so goddamn easy nowadays. There's tons of people
doing
face
that
swap
in the
videos.
90s and 80s.
Oh yeah, it was super hard back then. Now it's a fucking program. You just go in.
But see, even for me though, I look at that stuff and I'm like, Photoshop. I still can't figure out how to make everything gray except for one item. Where they're like, I'm like, oh, I got to draw around it like in Paint Shop and not fuck up the edges. I don't have time for this pixel by pixel clicking crap. Which to me is, I feel like, how it's done, but I know that's not.
Right.
I just can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Because I don't do. I can do computer as well, but I don't do programming or like, you know.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. But yeah, so since that, you know, Tom Holland came out, he was like, hey, everyone's been hounding him. Have you seen it? Have you seen it? Have you seen it? He did see it, and he did make a comment on it. And I guess from what I have here, from what they said, I guess where did he say? He was on the BBC radio, and, you know, they were talking about it. And he said, yeah, no, we've talked about doing the movie, but he kind of put a kibosh to it and was just like, yeah, it's just, the movie's too perfect. Like, I'm never gonna make it any better.
I don't want.
Like, why would I want to remake this? Like, I would love. He's like, I would love to play it. You know, I think his exact words. I'd be lying if I said there hadn't been conversations in the past about doing some sort of remake, but the film is the most perfect film, or one of the most perfect films. Adding that there was one he could never, that it was one that could never be made better. Which I agree.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I mean, you know.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan of remakes in general.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes there are some gems out there that are better than the original.
True. I mean, you have like I didn't watch. I still have not watched, but like the Judge Dredd remake.
I was just going to say that.
Everyone's like, that movie's amazing.
The Judge Dredd remake is fantastic, but it's also not as good as the original at the same time.
Yeah.
Because the original is so cheesy.
Yeah.
It's like Demolition Man. You're like,
Demolition Man's amazing.
Yeah, with the cryogenic Wesley Snipes kicking and shattering, which is not what happens in real life.
Right.
Like that movie, and like they're eating Wendy's and Burger King is like high class.
That movie's fantastic.
Not Wendy's, but anyway,
Taco Bell. They won the food. They won the fast food wars.
Yes. I'd rather be in the sewers eating rat. But anyway, I mean, and not doing a remake though for this would be the smart choice, obviously. But if they were going to do anything with Tom Holland and Back to the Future, it would have to. And there's no way they could do it now. But in the beginning of his career, before he was Spider-Man and while he was still doing some smaller things, it would have been perfect to do one of those movies where Michael J. Fox comes back and he's the father, and now his son gets the time travel.
I was exactly going to say that. I was going to say
because he would have been perfect like 8 years ago.
I think he'd be perfect now.
Yeah, but he's too big now to do a movie like that. A movie like that isn't really going to take off.
Why not? You do like the same thing they're doing with Rick Moranis and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, but he's not Rick Moranis.
Yeah, but Michael J. Fox would be more like the Rick Moranis character.
But the person playing the young Rick Moranis is not Tom Holland's stature. And not the young Rick Moranis, his son. It's Josh Gad. All right,
he's bigger. Josh Gad's bigger than.
He's big, but he's in a different category. Like Tom Holland. I mean,
think they're at the same level.
I think it would be a great movie to watch, and I would still see it. But I don't think it would sell with a lot of people because they're gonna be like, you would when you make a movie like that, you want someone a little less known, in my opinion, and then you're gonna be like, oh, well, this is what made that guy.
Hold up, you're gonna tell me you would not want to see.
I just told you I don't want to see this.
Hold on. If you think that right now, after the Spider-Man movies, if they did a sequel to Back to the Future 4, with Tom Holland playing Michael J. Fox's kid, going back to the 80s...
Everyone would watch it, yeah.
Come on. That would be so good.
But I don't think it would be a good movie.
Especially after the fact that they make all of those 80s reference movies in the Spider-Man movies. It would be hilarious.
Of course it would, and I would love it. But I don't think it would overall generally do great. So I'm looking at it as I got it. I got the fruit fly.
Oh my god.
I just overall don't think it would be as appealing to everyone as we think it would be. That's what I'm saying. Like if it came out like 8 years ago, when he was just a little bit younger.
More appealing now.
Well, because he's actually like 19 now, right?
I think he's like
21.
No, he's 21 or 22. It'd be perfect because he can still play a 16, 17-year-old kid in high school, which he is.
Listen, I would like to see it. I don't think it's gonna happen. And if they were the point is if they were going to make this movie another Back to the Future, it would have to be that. It wouldn't be. It cannot be a remake.
No, they would never be.
Cannot remake.
Spielberg would never let that happen. Spielberg absolutely would. He's very, very. There's certain franchises that Spielberg is very protective of. Unfortunately, Jurassic Park was not one of them. But
I was gonna say Aliens, but that was Scott Ridley.
That was Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott. Yeah. Well, I had it half right.
Yeah. He's not doesn't care too much about Jurassic Park, but Indiana Jones, Back to the Future are two franchises that he does not let anybody else touch.
Well, Indiana Jones is coming up shortly on our topics. Did we have that?
I don't think we added that in.
No, we didn't. But what we had saw was that for the Indiana Jones,
because Spielberg's not directing it,
Marigold
which is
Mangold?
John Mangold, who did Logan.
And what they were saying was they need to do for Logan, or what they did for Logan, they need to do Indiana Jones. Like, give him a good send-off, a good death. And, this is it. We're done.
That's it. We're done. They're doing it.
I don't want them to, though.
What, just kill off Indy?
No, just make another movie. I'm fine with imagining what happens to him after the last movie never happened. Okay?
Yeah, but you can't. You can't end on Crystal Skull. Even though,
but you also,
I think here's one thing.
You can't end on Aliens, is what you're saying.
I didn't think Kingdom Skull was that bad. I know everyone hates that movie. It's fine.
It's a good movie up until
you find out it's aliens.
The very end.
Or the Shia LaBeouf swinging with monkeys.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate Shia LaBeouf in the movie in the beginning with his greaser and motorcycle. I mean, it's a little really unrealistic.
Right.
But I like the whole atom bomb scene where he's in the town looking for water and for people, and he's like,
and he gets in the fridge.
Yeah, and he gets in the fridge, which would never happen.
That's one of the scenes that everyone hates.
Yeah, but I like the imaginative part of that, the narrative, the story, the fantasy. I just didn't like when they got to the temple and they were like, now it's falling apart because there's gold and there's crystals and there's skulls and there's aliens and let's take off in our spaceship.
People get so mad about that movie because they're like, oh, it's crazy, it's unrealistic, it's ridiculous. The other movies aren't any less ridiculous.
That's true. I mean, they're all
like Temple of Doom. They pulled a guy's heart out, and he lived.
In my opinion, the worst movie until Crystal Skull came out.
No, Temple of Doom's fantastic.
Last disagree.
Crusade, they literally find the chalice of Jesus. That's no more ridiculous than Aliens.
What? Because Jesus isn't real?
No, I'm not saying that. It's just not ridiculous. All you Christians out there, I'm not saying Jesus ain't real. He may be, but listen, all I'm saying is it's no more ridiculous.
I believe Jesus was real, by the way. I just don't believe God is real.
It's no more
big difference.
Ridiculous than Aliens. None of it. They found the goddamn Ark of the Covenant. It's not.
I mean, I believe with the aliens and the beings and they're out there.
Those are ridiculous movies.
I just when it came to the Indiana Jones, I was like, I think it was that they went so overboard with it. Dude got his heart ripped out and then walked away from
Gallimard.
Except all that guy was really thinking was, when is lunch? Because I need some calamari. But I need some calamari. And you're like, all right, stop being so Italian and say calamari.
They're supposed to be over-the-top movies because they're based off serials from the 1930s and 20s. So I don't know. It's not a great movie, but I don't think it's that.
I don't think it deserves the hatred that everyone has for it. I agree, but it is my least. Well, actually, I do think that the one you're talking about is my least favorite.
Crystal Skull?
No.
Temple of Doom?
Temple of Doom, the one with Short Round.
Short Round.
Indy first. You go first, Indy.
Are you kidding me?
Short Round was great. Goonies and and shit. But I just didn't like that movie. I hated the lead chick in it. Excuse me, woman.
Yep. She got it because she slept with Spielberg.
If they were gonna pick someone like her who would have been better, it would have been that chick from Sex and the City, but who was in Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
Because back in that era, she was smoking. She was a fox.
Yeah. Well, she got that gig because she was banging the director. Yeah, I don't know. I think with this whole deep fake thing coming out, I think this might reopen the conversation of a possible Back to the Future, because it's been rumored for years that they're going to do a sequel to it. Like, I'm pretty sure Michael J. Fox said he might be into it.
Now that he's all better, well, not better, but it's very manageable.
Yeah, he's doing very well.
He had his own sitcom for one season that came out a couple years back. I forget what it was called. I don't even remember. I watched a few episodes, and it wasn't bad, but it was good to see him again.
Yeah, I remember Tom Segura. I think Tom Segura had a bit about that show, about like, really, we're gonna watch that. Like,
I think he was like a newspaper writer, kind of like, or magazine writer, columnist of sorts, and he was famous and had a lot of money and stuff, and that was what it was about.
Tom Segura's bit, I think, was like, it's just a time bomb until how long that they start doing the Parkinson jokes. Like, but anyway, I don't know. I think as much as I think this deepfake and all these deepfakes are kind of fucking stupid, and quite honestly fucking terrifying that this is possible, I think this will reignite the conversation of possibly doing a sequel. And
if they did do a sequel, or let's just say that, God forbid, they make a remake.
Yeah.
You know who could still play Doc Brown?
Christopher Lloyd.
Yes, he could still. He looks identical, almost.
100%. That dude's like 150 years old.
I mean, no offense, Robert Downey Jr., but no thank you. I'd rather have Tom Holland and Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, because it's like, that's the one thing. It's like, how do you, unless you're doing a remake, you can't really bring Downey Jr. Like, how do you put Downey Jr. into it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can't really do that.
I mean, obviously, they only picked Downey Jr. for this because of
cousin. Like, you know.
Well, no, I mean, the only reason they did it for this is because of all the Tom Holland and Iron Man, Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah. No, I get why they
chose the people they chose.
Chose that for it. Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know, man, because even Tom Holland, he looks like he could be Michael J. Fox's kid. like I kind of want to get a DNA test done, because I feel like he was fucking around. Not too
Sorry, you're not a Holland. You're a Fox.
You're a Fox. All right.
You ever said that about a man before?
No,
I don't think a fox?
I don't think I've ever called a man a fox. All right. So we can move on to the next. This next story makes me very angry. Now, full disclosure, I have not seen Superman Red Son yet. I didn't even realize it was out.
Neither did I, which I'll probably be watching tonight.
I'll probably watch it tonight as well, in between my episodes of Altered Carbon that I'm watching, because I'm sure it's on the DC app.
I doubt it.
No? You don't think they put it out on that?
Maybe, but I doubt it. They'll probably, if it's out on digital HD now, they're probably going to let it sell a little bit first before they put it on.
Well, that's annoying. So
but I haven't logged into the DC app in a while because there's no new content other than that stupid Harley Quinn show that we hate.
Yeah, right. Which we'll move past that. So apparently this movie establishes a major DC hero as LGBT. That major DC hero?
Superman?
Wonder Woman.
Oh.
Now, if anybody knows...
I didn't read the article. I assumed it was Superman.
No. Yeah. However,
I was like, it's like, Jimmy and Lois, huh? Get a little ginger in there. That would make you probably happy. Jimmy Olsen finally getting some with Superman.
Yeah, why not? I don't know why that would make me happy, but sure.
I don't know either.
But yeah, so according to this, there's one more surprising direction the film takes. On top of Clark Kent being Russian and Batman killing people, which is all things we've seen before, Superman Red Son makes Wonder Woman the voice for the global LGBT community. What pisses me off right now is this is comic book, CBR, comic book, whatever. I don't know what the third letter in R is. Comic book
resources, I think. Yeah.
Is that what it is? This site should fucking know better.
Yeah, it's not on the app, by the way. It's not on the DC app.
Wah. I'll have to pirate it somewhere.
Because the trending movies right now is Teen Titans from 2017.
What pisses me off here is that this writer wrote this and CBR published it. Wonder Woman has been LGBT for like the past 30 years. Like she's bisexual. She's almost in her entire run has been, not entire run, but like for the past, since like the 90s, mid 90s, 80s, 90s, she's been known as a bisexual character. She's been with women, she's been with men, she's been with aliens. It pisses me off that they're making this out to be a big fucking thing when she's been that for literally half her career as Wonder Woman. Like, it's not something new, or a third of her career as Wonder Woman. It's been known that she's been an LGBT character. Like, it's not fucking new news. And this movie didn't solidify it and establish it or any of that shit. It's been established in comics. It's been established in the media that Wonder Woman likes the poon. Like,
she doesn't like me.
She doesn't like, well, fuck you. I said poon, not pon.
Oh.
I don't know. I just don't, like, this is the most virtue signaling of virtue signaling. And I'm pretty sure in the Red Sun comics that came out 20 years ago, she was LGBT in the comic.
But
like,
her character, though, hasn't drawn in that community to the point where, like, we hear about it all the time. We see it.
No.
We see how, so maybe this is just someone's idea of her creating an article so that more people will know about it,
but it was
that aren't into comic books, and they're going to be like, oh, that movie, that Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot.
Okay.
Oh my God, let's use this for our new platform. Let's go crazy. And I'm not saying this is a justifiable thing.
It's not justifiable.
That's why they're probably
bullshit.
doing it.
It's 100% bullshit. Because I'm even looking through the article now. They don't even talk about the fact that she's been part of that for years now. All they talk about is the goddamn movie. And why? Don't fucking market it like it's a story. Like, it establishes it as it is. Say, we finally get the first look at as Wonder Woman, showing that she's a bisexual character, that she's been for the past 40 fucking years. Like, it's not new. It's not news. It's ridiculous that we're even making a big... See, like, that's the beauty.
Yeah, but also keep in mind that we all know that these articles are bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we rip on all the time.
True.
But you know who's not seeing any of this stuff?
Normal people.
The majority of people.
That's the craziest thing. So, like, that's what pisses me off even more. It's a goddamn comic book site aimed at people who are reading comic books and watching these movies and know the information. Like,
I think these articles are actually aimed for Facebook, so that when someone watches a show, and they talk about it, and they Facebook and everything, listen, they study that it's going to start broadcasting on their site, and so that they're going to be like, oh well, let me click this link and find out I'm not a comic book fan. Yeah, but I'm going to learn something.
But you want to know something?
That's what
if they're not watching that stuff, they're not going to see these articles.
No, but if they're watching these articles, like the major movies and stuff, and then they're like,
I don't think so as much, because it's not like my mom is getting these coming up in her algorithm just because she watched the Wonder Woman movie. You know what I mean? Like, she's not clicking on this article. Like, my mom isn't clicking on the CBR article. My dad isn't clicking on a CBR article. They're not looking at this shit. They're not reading this garbage.
Just because they're not clicking on it doesn't mean it's not there.
I don't even think it's there, because I think that with the way
it's true. I mean, it's really not even on my feed anymore.
That's what I mean. Like
it's
the
pretty
moment
much
you start checking something else, it's gonna like.
I get more advertisements for lightsabers than I do for comic book news.
Yeah, like, so, they're putting this into what's basically a bubble of people who already know these things. And that's what pisses me off about this particular story, is that this whole site is dedicated to people who like comic books.
It's supposed to be dedicated to people who like comic books. Supposed to be dedicated, CBR. Your articles are bullshit.
They are. They really are. They really are. And it just pisses me off that and this was like one of the main stories on the page about this. I mean, everyone's going off about the Superman Red Sun movie.
It's been all over their pages.
Like, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And what pisses me off is because the reason why it bothers me is because, yes, it was made a big deal about years ago. And it wasn't, like, I don't even remember it being made a big deal that she was into women. There's been multiple iterations of that, and like in fucking comic books, like, we don't get angry about that kind of shit. Like, we just don't.
Not at all.
I mean, there's toxic fandom
there was a huge uproar when Marvel announced that Bobby Drake was gay, though. Remember that when Iceman came out as gay?
Yeah.
Which disappeared real quick. Like nobody, it was like a month of bickering and then it disappeared.
That's what I mean.
Because the next thing happened.
Well, it's not even that. It's just like we weed out those bullshit people.
Yeah.
Like that's what we take care of our own. We go, hey,
I
you're
still
being a
don't
fucking
know
asshole.
if that's even true.
Like, you know.
But
oh, what, that he's gay in the comics?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but I mean, the same thing came up with other things too. Like, I mean, there's been a bunch of stuff I think we've talked about it before. Like, the whole comic book community, we kind of weed out our own. We weed out the toxic bullshit. Like,
not only that, but it's like
people coming in who
if you don't like this version of that comic, there's 7 others going on at the same time that you can read.
Exactly.
So this Wonder Woman might not be the same as this Wonder Woman in a different Earth or a different story arc.
Right.
Like Bobby Drake might be gay in one run of the X-Men, but in the others, he was in love with Lorna, Magneto's other daughter.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
And I think that one wasn't that big because he was gay in the Ultimate Universe.
No, it wasn't the Ultimate Universe.
Are you
sure? This happened years after the Ultimate Universe. This was like probably on like the whole like the New World, like after the Last Mutant from.
You positive about that?
No, I'm not positive because I don't know. Because like I said, there are so many story arcs. But I read all of
I'm pretty sure I reread some of the Ultimate stuff, and I think it's that.
I read all the Ultimate Comic stuff, and I never got that. But I mean, I could be wrong because it's been a long time since I've read that. And I feel like it was like afterwards when like the newer series of X-Men started coming out, where Hope, the firstborn mutant after M-Day, like whole huge story arc that was unreadable to this day is still unreadable because there's so many different stories going on at once.
Is Bobby Drake? It came out. It's coming out his own series.
Oh, in his own series. See, I read that series. I don't remember that.
Yeah, back in 2018. Yeah.
Yeah, so 2018, which is way after Ultimate.
So yeah, but this was right when they.
Actually, I did not read this.
This is when they mixed the Ultimate Universe in. Yeah, this was like right when they combined the Ultimate Universe into the main Marvel Universe.
Doesn't matter.
Whatever. Does not matter. I don't know. It's just a bullshit story that I just don't get why anyone's even talking about it or why this is a big deal. Like, it's not. It's virtue signaling to the fucking nth degree. Like, it's been common knowledge that she's, well, I guess not common, but among comic book people and the people watching these animated
and really
movies.
Who gives a shit? I mean, whose heart is Wonder Woman gonna break? Steve Trevor, he's dead. Superman, he's got Lois. Batman, well, Batman needs it, but you know,
which is the whole like she was in love with Batman for a while.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. She's been around.
Yeah,
but she's also been around for a long time.
She's been around for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
Of course, she grew up on an island of women. You really think she?
Exactly.
You really think
that's one of the biggest things there is
like. Yeah, you really think she hasn't experimented with women? Like, come on.
You think that anyone on that island hasn't?
Exactly.
I mean, they chose to get away from men.
Exactly.
They are the definition of He-Man Woman Haters Club in reverse.
100%. Absolutely.
They are the opposite little rascals.
Yes.
They're the big rascals because in comics they got big boobies.
Right. I don't know. It's just it's ridiculous. So we're gonna move on to the next story. Let's see what else you got for CBR. This one we didn't actually read the story.
I just like the title.
We just like the title and we agree with it. So yeah, I think this is a big thing. And honestly, it's kind of what since the last Star Wars movie, I started doing this of just keeping my nose. Any movie I really want to see,
keeping your nose out of it.
Keeping my nose out of it. If they come out with like a costume or this,
I don't mind looking at set photos, but I'm not reading any of the plot, the rumors, the stories. I mean, when you hear the rumor in the title and it's something that's ridiculous, obviously you're like, that's not real.
Yeah, no,
and I can read those, but
this, like I said, I didn't read it. I don't know what the hell this. I'm pretty sure all of these stories have been from the same person, by the way, as well. Because the other one was
Ronaldo.
Yeah, whatever this guy's name is or woman's name is.
Yeah, they probably.
Ronaldo. But yeah, that's right. We did the whole putting out 4 or 5 stories at once.
Well, I think they put out 15, and that one dude put out like 15
in like 3 hours. Yeah. But I agree with this. I think anyone, if you want to have a more enjoyable movie or a more angry movie experience, like I did with Star Wars, just fucking keep your head underwater.
Yeah.
Like, watch the trailer. Like, I even don't even watch the trailers anymore for a lot of things.
Neither do I.
Like,
until they're like real trailers, like full trailer 1, not like teaser 2, teaser 3. Like, I try to stay away, but for the most part, like, I do want to see a trailer just to give me an inkling if I'm really interested or not.
Yeah, the problem is some of the trailers go too far and they put too much.
Yeah, and that's a lot of the times nowadays, though, everything that's in the trailers isn't in the movies.
That's
like
true,
every
too.
Marvel trailer for Avengers, Infinity, and Endgame were clips that were not in the movies because they did that on purpose. They said we wanted our trailers to be a mini movie.
Yeah, that's fucking annoying.
It is annoying because we never got the Hulk running with the Wakandans and stuff, like, and all of them together.
Yeah, but they also they put that in there because they knew he was going to be in the iron suit, so they didn't want to give it away.
Yeah, but also like
different.
A lot of their clips were not in the movies, like that, and they've been doing that for a long time with Marvel. So, and I think a lot of other things are doing it too. But it's also been going on for a long time that we just haven't been so aware of, like seeing something in a trailer and it's never in the movie because it gets cut or because of this or that.
There's a few.
It's not something that is uncommon.
Yeah, no, and I just don't. I don't know. I think there's a problem because like you also have the opposite end of that spectrum where the trailers are showing way too much.
The benefit of me not having TV service is that I never see trailers unless they pop up on my feed somewhere. Yeah. So there are movies coming out that I don't even know about. Yeah. Because I don't have live TV anymore. I'm not watching commercials.
Right. Yeah, no, and I'm definitely been keeping away from them just because.
And I don't go to these sites. So.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Keep the fuck out of it. I've been trying. The reason why I'm on these sites now is because of this.
Yeah,
we're doing
exactly.
This
Same here.
Yeah,
but I mean, while you're keeping out of something, let's keep out of using Twilight's photos of Robert Pattinson on every Batman story. Right. I mean, I'm okay with this one because it's got the only really good thing from the Nolan verse, in my opinion, is the Batarang and bat symbol.
Bat symbol. Yeah.
Like, cool. Just leave it as that.
Yeah.
Don't. And we've had so many pictures come out recently of Robert Pattinson in the bat suit and others. Why are you still using Twilight photos?
Right. No, I agree. There's no reason to be using Twilight.
Oh, look, you took the sparkle off his face, though. I guess the sun's not out.
It's so fucking dumb. It's so stupid.
Which you would only get if you saw those movies.
True. Very true. Let's see what else we got here. We got a couple things more to go through for today. Let's see. Another Tom Holland little bit of news. So Spider-Man 3 gets a
stupid title
in working title. Because, you know, they're going to call it this movie. It's the working title that they're using.
You read any of the comments online before anyone even read these articles, because I did for a little bit just to see, was everyone going, oh, I bet it's Spider-Man 3 Home Alone, Spider-Man Free Finally Home, Spider-Man 3, like home something. They were all like, it's got to have home in the title because
But so the working title is Serenity now.
And then they were actually, before you say that, they were like, someone put out this kind of short descriptive, and it was actually like a Home Alone 3 movie, but with Tom Holland and Spider-Man. Like, that would be awesome. Like villains breaking into the house, and he's got like great booby traps and stuff.
That is the Spider-Man movie I want to see. 100%. That's the movie.
Which is something they did in that Spider-Man animated, the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah, they did
where Shield like turned his whole house into like a base, but without him knowing, and then someone tried to break in, and all these security measures came up and walls went up, and it was like
trying to walk into the house,
but it was like way too far into it. And then, but you're like, basically, that would be the story. Is like, oh, well, I've got webs. Let me make a little thing to trip over. Let me make some, whatever those nets are in the jungle that people step in and get pulled up. So it would be funny. It would be great. Yeah.
So the reason why they give this name, like these ridiculous titles, and they've given them other names. I guess the other ones were Summer of George, Fall of George. It's so people don't know what the fuck movie's being made.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point of this. This isn't a working title. This is just
something they can put on paper so that when eventually it gets leaked, it has nothing to do with what's really going on.
Exactly. It's the same way like celebrities go and they don't give their real name to the hotel. They're signed in under Joe Schmo or whatever their name is. Like, it's the same goddamn thing. So people don't show up to the movie set going, they're filming Spider-Man right here. Let's go do it. Like, Kevin Smith talked about it. He has had working different titles for his movies. He's called ridiculous things and like all this stuff. It means nothing. Like, this is like a story about, how do I even explain it?
Well, this is someone telling them. Someone came up with this specifically so that people would write a story about it to make the public far off. But people who are reading this and thinking it's real are idiots.
Yes. Yes.
There's no way the Spider-Man 3 movie is going to be called, and wait for it, spoiler alert,
Serenity Now.
Because he's George fucking Costanza.
Like, it's not, like, and apparently it actually is a Summer of Joy. I guess they're, yeah, I guess
Summer of Joy. Like, so whoever was doing this,
they have been doing Seinfeld ones the entire time. Like, obviously, it's
Fall of George, Summer of George.
Like, they're parts of. They're all have to do with George Costanza.
So, like, it's gonna be the Summer of George. It's gonna be Spider-Man hunting Summer of Sam, like the serial killer, or it's gonna be the Fall of George, and it's gonna be Spider-Man remaking Fall of Troy. Like, no,
it's so stupid. It's so dumb that people like buy this shit, and it's dumb that these people are even writing about this. Like, Jesus Christ. And this fucking CBR gets thousands and thousands and thousands of people reading them every day, and I can't imagine
why we don't work there.
I mean, I can make up stories too.
Yeah,
I can make up these bullshit stories. I think it is like with these sites, you just like basically just submit it and get paid.
Occasionally, you do get some nuggets of truth and some like interesting.
There were some interesting ones,
but like I feel like I haven't really seen that in years. Like I feel like the last time I saw really credible information was before Fantastic Four came out, with like Josh Tranks. Like when they were talking about the plot, the storyline, like, and a lot of that stuff was all true, which made me so excited for the movie. And when it came out, it was completely wrong.
Superhero hype used to be pretty good way back, like 5-6 years ago. They were a pretty good source. They actually had some pretty good.
And back then, CBR was known as Comic Book Resources, not CBR.
Right. I mean, there were a couple of them that were really good, and they were doing really good work. But the problem is now they just make up
the
shit.
Spoilers were really spoilers.
Yeah. Now they just make up shit and just hope it lands, because then they can just, after the fact, just go,
well, we put rumored in there.
Yeah, we got it right. We got it right. Look, see, we were right. Our rumors were right. See, what, like, yeah, but you also...
Somewhere in my article, I put the word rumor, so therefore you can't quote me if I was wrong.
But you told us 14 different plot stories, all saying these are the rumored stories. Yeah, of course one of them is going to be right. You know what I mean? Like, when you put 100 different things out there, one of them's gonna land, like, and that's their whole thing and what they do.
Yeah,
like,
pick a dead cat up by its tail, swing it, and throw it in a bar. You're bound to hit the truth at some point.
Exactly, absolutely, exactly. I 100% agree with that. They're just ridiculous. These people are just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, we got one more story, which this one, for anyone who has been following, past week there was. Again, these rumors, which these ones were more credible rumors and this was an actual big story that was going around, not just on these bullshit sites like comicbook.com, but this was like actually major news. Was DC, the rumor that DC was going to sell the comic division to Marvel, which the moment I heard that, you have no, like, people are fucking stupid. Warner Brothers, AT&T, they're not going to sell these properties or license these properties out to Marvel. It's just never going to happen.
Well, they keep making shitty movies. They might.
Yeah, but they're turning around, man. They've had some good movies so far. Wonder Woman, Shazam was good. Aquaman, it wasn't great, but it was all right. It was good enough.
Joker,
Joker. You know, you got a bunch of good movies coming out, and that have come out since. But everyone. Basically around in the U.S. and everything has been talking about this. Major networks were talking about it. Like, it was a big deal because AT&T said something, I guess, about how it wasn't profitable or whatever. they were thinking about stopping doing the comics or this or that. It's never gonna happen. And Jim Lee came out. It all sprung from Dan DiDio, who was the head. Who's been the head editor and publisher.
Not Danny DeVito.
Not Danny DeVito. Dan DiDio. At DC for years now. He's been a great writer. All this stuff. He's been with DC for a very long time. But he was trying to do, I guess, this big crossover event. I guess a big reset. Like he was gonna basically kill off all of the big superheroes. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. They were all going to die. People were going to take their place. And it wasn't like, oh, Batman's going to die and Dick Grayson's going to take his place or Tim Drake's going to take his place.
It was a new character.
Well, it wasn't even a new character. It was like Lucius Fox's kid, Luke Fox, who's Batman, is going to take his place. It was like it was this weird, like, we're going to get rid of everyone and make a super diverse version of all these people, which they've done in the past in alternate versions, but they were going to do it to the main reality. And they were basically going to separate all the timelines, make them all completely separate. Like you have the pre-crisis, post-crisis, post-infinite crisis, post.
See, as a reader, I would love that. Because then you can follow a story without having to be pulled in 25 different directions.
The problem, though, with that is it's already that all of those timelines and changes
already happened.
And they're already interwoven in a way that works. They're doing it just so they could kill off the characters and not have to write Bruce Wayne anymore and not have to write Clark Kent anymore, and all these kinds of things. And they didn't, I guess, like WB and AT&T were like, wait, no, asshole, we're putting out a brand new Batman movie that features Bruce Wayne. We're gonna have Bruce Wayne in the goddamn in the comics. We can't do that. We fucked that up when we did the New 52 because New 52 they killed off Batman at one point, which he wasn't really dead. But they made Jeff Gordon, or Commissioner Gordon, Batman for a while, which was actually a really good series. It was a fun run of the series. It was kind of weird though because there was other Batman titles going on at the same time that had Batman in them, but they were different time time points because that was at the time when there was like 5 different Batman titles, not like Batman, Nightwing, those. It was Batman, the Dark Knight, Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
Batman,
which is too
it was like
fucking
7
much.
different titles going on.
It's the same thing they did with Spider-Man all the time.
Yeah,
they had Spider-Man, Peter Parker.
Oh, and I was buying comics at that point, and I was buying 7 different Spider-Man titles all
at
once.
a time. Yeah. Like how could you keep those stories straight?
It was crazy. That was a little different because they used more. This one's the Ben Reilly Spider-Man. This one's it was a little bit different. This was specifically just Batman, and it was crazy. But they made Jim Gordon Batman. It was actually a pretty good run. I actually really enjoyed it. But they were like, hey guys, like it was also the same time where they Superman was losing his powers. So he was basically just normal. Like he barely had any of his powers left. There was this whole big thing between with those two, and they were like, you guys gotta better fucking get this together because we got Batman and Superman coming out, and now the comic books don't have a Batman or Superman.
So what are the people gonna buy?
Exactly. Well, that's what it was because every time
they'll buy the video game, but you didn't release one.
Yeah, right. But it's like every time these movies, these types of big movies come out, it boosts
Did
up
they
sales.
Release one?
No, they didn't do it.
Yeah, they didn't release.
They've stopped doing like.
They did the Lego series, basically.
Yeah,
and Injustice.
Yeah, they stopped doing the tie-in games. Like no movies do tie-in games anymore.
But Marvel still does.
Occasionally, they're not very good. I think they even stopped. I think they stopped it with the Iron Man game,
which was a mobile platform. I think.
No, that was like an actual console game, and it wasn't very good. I never played it.
I think the best comic book game, Wolverine Origins.
Yeah, I played that.
The storyline had nothing to do with the movie.
That's why it was.
And it was just a Wolverine, and it was bloody. It was gory.
Yeah.
I mean, it was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Not the best video game graphics wise or anything, but
fun PS2 game.
And it was just a button smash game.
Yeah, it was God of War or whatever. Just hit X over and over again, kill stuff. But yeah. So at that time, they basically were like, "Hey, assholes! Start writing the characters back in. So when the movie comes out." And people start to buy comic books, we can read it because they always have a big boost when those types of things happen. You know, Avengers big boost came out. Spider-Man, there was the Spider-Man movies, a big boost. They had a big boost boom of comics, comic book sales, like all that stuff.
Because people that weren't into comics,
they go and they
start reading comics.
Exactly, it's exactly what it is.
Which is awesome because we want people to read more comics,
right?
But when I see movies made from video games, I don't go buy the video game.
No,
I've never have.
No.
Yeah, I don't think I ever have.
Because if I'm watching a movie based on a video game, I've already have that game. Like I've played that game, and
I didn't go back and play Resident Evil after watching the movies. I didn't have a PlayStation growing up, so I didn't play Resident Evil.
Okay.
I saw other friends play it sometimes when I was at their house, but I never played
like that
it.
was games that I played.
You know,
I played that game as a kid. Like I grew up playing Resident Evil 2 and 3. Like, so I went to see the movie because of that.
I did not play Warcraft. I saw the movie. I did not go play Warcraft.
I love that movie. I'm upset that movie did not do better. Because I really want more Warcraft movies, and I really enjoyed that Warcraft movie. Anyway, off topic. But basically, Jim Lee, so all that happened. Jim Lee basically came out and said, he was at C2E2, and they said, we're not putting any credence to these rumors. We've been around for 85 years. We're going to be around for another 85. And he's like, I hope to be doing this panel in 85 years, which, Jim Lee, you're like fucking 50, 60 years old, bro. Like, you're like, what, 130 years old? I don't know if you're going to be doing... Oh, actually, you might be with technology. And
we might have heads and jars soon, like Futurama.
I just saw a dude on Joe Rogan. I forget what his name. Something Gray. He's a guy who's working on trying to stop the aging process. Dorian Gray.
His real name is Dorian Gray.
No, not Dorian Gray.
There's no fucking way. This guy's name is Dorian Gray. That's the guy. That's the
50 Shades of Gay guy.
No. Dorian Gray is the dude who can't die because he's on a portrait that got painted of him, and everything bad that happens to him happens to the painting. So, like, if he cuts his arm or his face, it happens on the painting, and as he gets older, the painting starts to rot, and it's dripping maggots and other things, and it's becoming old and skeleton-like, whereas this person still is young, like, in their 20s. Wow. Dorian Gray is just fucking Dorian Gray.
Interesting. What was his name then? I can't remember what his name is. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, he was talking about how, like, we're about 20, 30 years out of being able to live for, like, 500 years. Like, we may, like, legitimately
I'm gonna say this right now. Stop doing that. We have an overpopulated planet as it is. We don't need rich people living 500 years. Although at that point they will start killing off the poor. And as much as that sounds terrible, I am the poor. I will get killed off. I don't need to be here any longer, to be honest.
Aubrey Gray was his name, not Dorian. Anyway. So yeah, and anyone who bought into the Marvel buying DC, like,
don't be so stupid.
Yeah, like you're never like there was rumors about this too back in the day, back in the early 2000s when Marvel was going out of business. Oh, DC's gonna buy Marvel. No, you know what they did? They did a big crossover event between Marvel and DC, and then Marvel sold all the rights to their movies and got back on their feet. Like, as much as they are competing with each other, they also help each other.
Yeah, that's true.
All the time, you know, because they understand they need the competition. Disney's not dumb enough to try to buy them and hold on to them. Like,
I saw a link or a post. Our buddy Sal on Facebook, who is like the only person that follows us on Facebook, Sal Scalici, he posted a comic book strip from what he was reading of a Hulk or something, right? And they mentioned the Justice League.
Yeah,
and it was a new issue, and they said they got Gods of Speed, like, and they mentioned the major. They had John Jones, basically, right. The Flash, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
But they don't actually name them.
They don't, but they said the colors.
They did the same thing in one of the DC comics, because they're doing this whole 0 clock thing with Dr. Manhattan, all this stuff, or countdown clock thing. And it was the same thing. They talked about Superman. He fought this green monster who's the only one who did whatever. And Thor came around. And they could say Thor because Thor is
they probably came out at the same time then.
That's exactly what it was, because they did confirm, like, they were leading up to another crossover event that they haven't done since like the 90s for the Amalgam universe, and that's realistically what we're probably gonna get.
And you know how much they talk about Spider-Man in the Flash TV show, and like other Marvel stuff. Like, well, I mean, they do it all the time.
And the thing too is, in each one of those universes, they have, because they're both multiverses, they each have a multiverse version of the other thing. So like, there is a version of the Marvel characters in the DC universe on a different Earth. They don't call them that, those characters that. But
those comic book characters are alive in a different universe, and they're not comics.
Technically, yeah, they're
because anything that you write in comic has to be. I think I heard this on something else. Was you have a perception of a different Earth, and you're just telling a story of something that already happened.
Yeah, that is a.
Wasn't that in one of the?
It was in
Justice League. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have that, and then they Marvel does the same thing. Like, one of the Earths is the DC Earth.
Yeah.
And DC, one of their Earths is the Marvel universe. Like, that's what it is. That's nothing new. The weirdest shitty part about all of this is, and I am kind of upset with both of these companies. The shitty part about all of this is that there's rumors that they're going to basically stop comic book writers from writing comics. They're going to be using, like, the movie writers, the TV writers. They're going to be having TV writers and movie writers writing the comic books.
Fuck that.
Yep.
I think they should do it the other way around.
It's fucking horrendous. I can't believe that they're going to do that.
Some of these comic book writers should be writing some of these fucking movies.
Yeah, and some of these comic book writers are better writers, or some of the best writers ever to live. Like, that's... I mean, it's a shame. Disney specifically, I think, was talking about doing that, and they're saying DC might do it too. Because, like,
that I mean, it surprises me, but it doesn't at the same time for Disney, because every Marvel project I've ever seen, including the things like The Punisher with Dolph Lundgren back in the day, they always have two names somewhere in them.
Right.
Stan Lee and Avi Arad.
Right.
Or Avi.
Right.
Like, just why? Why would you stop using some of these writers?
I don't understand it.
And especially for fucking jobs, man. What do we need one writer for when we can have two? Why does this movie writer got to lose his job for a comic book writer and vice versa?
So, I think the big thing is it's money. Because,
like pump your own gas station.
So, like, they did a limited run.
We don't pump our own gas. That's a job for someone.
What was it? They did a limited run of Spider-Man when Far From Home came out with the whoever it was who wrote or directed the Spider-Man movie. He wrote a comic book, and it was a huge seller. So that's what they're going with. They're going, oh, well, if we just get
because it had to do with the movies.
They'll exactly. And we'll have them write the movies, and they'll write the comic books. So then they'll all tie in together.
Yeah, that's fine if you want to do a comic run based on the movie.
They're talking about legitimately just like letting them write the comics.
Let's imagine the guy who did X-Men: The Last Stand wrote House of M.
It's ridiculous. It's really upsetting me, because you're going to be putting a lot of great comic book writers out of jobs. You're going to be and you're not going to be able to hear a lot of great stories. Now, again, I haven't really been up to date, because I kind of took a break from writing comics a couple years, or buying comics past couple years. I'm probably about like a year and a half, 2 years out from anything that's been going on. But regardless, there's some great writers and great stories going on right now. You know what I mean? Just from what I've tangentially read and seen and stuff like that I have to catch up on. You're going to get rid of all those. Like, you're not going to get these, like, you won't get, like, there was a great series, which I don't know if it's still on, but it was called, it was Gotham Academy. And it was basically Harry Potter if it was in Gotham. Like, it was like Harry Potter meets Scooby-Doo meets Batman. And it's hilarious. And it's great. And I think it may have gotten canceled. But, like, you're not... And it's like... everybody loves it who's read it. They're like, it's just brilliant. It's this like just weird side thing of these kids at this academy in Gotham, and they kind of randomly run into. It's kind of like remember the one episode?
It's like if they wrote a comic based on the Justice League movie that never came out.
It's
remember
like,
that one with the Green Lantern and the puffy like shirt?
No, it's more like.
But they're like, oh, let's take this shitty '90s movie and turn it into a comic book because it's rom-com-y.
It's
basically.
more like it is more like you remember the episode of the Batman show where it's the three kids talking about Batman and all telling Batman stories, and then he shows up at the end to save them. And it's like three little shorts.
Yeah,
and like one's like the Frank like they kind of weirdly tell the Frank Miller Batman, and they tell a Batman from like
this is the Batman comic where
the Batman animated series, the actual show. You remember that one episode? It's like three poor kids walking around. They're like, "Oh well, I saw the Batman, and this is how it was." It's kind of like that in a comic book, where it's like they're doing they're doing these like little Scooby-Doo kind of adventures mixed with like mystical things.
Yeah, it's like from the eyes of a kid.
And then almost. Batman will randomly kind of show up in an issue of like, well, why the fuck are you here? And he like keeps showing up, and like, again, I don't think they ever finished it, or I think they may have wound up stopping the run, but it's kind of like that. It was a great show, but like you won't get that. Or like even there was a run which I liked called The Robins, and it was after the New 52, and it was like this urban like kids in this inner city take up the mantle of Robin after he dies, after Damian Wayne dies, and like they start fighting crime and shit after Batman's gone and Damian's dead and all this stuff. And like it wasn't a great series.
You're like, who wants to be the Robin?
It was really cool though. The art was really cool. It was graffiti art style. It was a really cool art style story, and like it was just a cool thing. Like you're not gonna get that if you stop allowing these comic book writers and artists to do their thing, like, and you just make it so the film directors and all those people are doing it. You're just not gonna get it, and it's upsetting that they're even thinking about doing something like that. Have your little small runs where where you have someone like Kevin Smith come in and do Green Arrow or Daredevil or whatever. That's always been a thing. I'm still waiting on Kevin Smith's last Batman.
Did he do a Daredevil run?
Yeah, he did a Daredevil run.
I know the Green Arrow. I read that. It was a good run.
It's a good story. The Daredevil run is supposed to be really good.
Supposed to be, so you didn't read it.
I haven't read through it. No.
I'll have to check my Marvel app tonight and see if it's on there. Yeah, because I have the Marvel Unlimited comics app.
His Batman storyline is good. He hasn't finished it. There's still a third part to that one. They actually got really mad at him because he made Batman P himself, which was kind of funny. Like it was like him retelling his first night from year one, where he's like, where he burst in, where all the mob bosses are having dinner discussing, and he's like, "Hey, buddies, like it was his first night coming out, and like I'm here for you." And like in his head, he's like, "I think I just peed myself a little bit," because he's like terrified doing it, and everyone was like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Dude, I just made like a decision of like." Yeah, it's his first night out. He's like a 19-year-old kid, and he's with all these mob bosses that can kill him, and he doesn't know if he can actually do this or not. Like,
well, they're all peeing yourself a little bit.
Yeah,
from time to time. You're scared,
but
in the middle of the night when you wake up and look in the mirror.
Like I'm fine with them doing that. I'm just not fine with them taking, creative stuff out of the hands of people who really do
creatives.
Like, yeah, I mean.
Especially knowing like where are we in Hollywood right now? Remake, 20-year-old sequel, remake, sequel, failure, remake, sequel of remake.
Oh, and let's not forget all the adaptations of books.
Yeah,
and, like, you know what I mean? Like,
but it's like
it's no original stories.
No,
none of it.
They even remade that movie Arthur from back in the day, and they put
Russell
Brand in it. Like that's not a movie that needed to be remade.
Nope.
Because it wasn't that great of a movie to begin with.
The original movie is pretty great.
It was good. I liked it, but it's like why? Why are you like, oh, you know what movie we should remake? I'm checking my books right now, and we need some money. Arthur.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's obscure. So what it is that people don't realize it's a remake.
Exactly. It's exactly what it is.
Fucking stop.
Yeah.
Don't fire the writers of comic books.
No, and I hope they kind of pull back on that and don't.
Because otherwise, what we're gonna get is 17 more Batman movies remaking the Nolanverse. Like, oh well, we could do better with Catwoman this time, but I like his Batman, so let's just do that movie with a different Catwoman.
Yeah.
And we'll make him a little bit older. Yeah, that'll work.
That's what they do, man.
No, man, fucking stop it. Stop it.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope they do. I don't know, man. I want good comic book stories. I want to be able to read the Frank Millers and the Jeff Johns and the, all that stuff. Like, you wouldn't have some of these great runs without them, or what's his face?
We're going to leave the fate of Spider-Man up to the writers of The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Pretty much.
And of Spider-Man 3.
Yep.
Oh, man, this sounds so exciting. I can't wait for the future of comics.
That's what they're saying. Oh, yeah.
Well, I fucking loved the Amazing Spider-Man movies, by the way, with Andrew Garfield.
They're not terrible. Actually, they're pretty bad.
I fucking loved them, all right? Because I liked his his Spider-Man. And I think they just overdid it with that second movie a little bit. They put too much in there.
Yeah, but they did a weird thing with that.
Either way, I'm still excited if we ever get to see him again.
Yeah.
With like the Spider-Verse's possibility out there. I like him. I like Tobey Maguire too. But again, I liked him as Peter Parker. So let's get a movie where he's Peter Parker and Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, or we could just keep Tom Holland, because let's stop changing Spider-Man.
Yeah, right.
On that note,
we are gonna end this live stream and video.
And we're not the Fat Man on Batman.
We're not the Fat Man on Batman. Yeah, we'll be posting this up in a couple days on YouTube to watch. Anyone who is watching on Twitch, which I think we may have had someone saying hello. Decree, is he still in here?
Hey boys.
I don't know. I can't see. I don't think that person's still in here. Whatever. Anyway. Alright guys. See you later.